Hey guys, it's Phil here. Some of you know me as the founder of Zonmaster, which is a kind of autoresponder service for Amazon sellers. So a lot of you I know who watch this channel are Amazon sellers, and I wanted to talk about this thing that's going on right now that's just kind of crazy. And it's a bit of a threat to a lot of you guys out there, and so we would like to help you find a way around it, or I certainly would just like to talk about it because I think it's an interesting thing. And for those of you who say, it's a political, and their business isn't about politics, well, this is proof of what I've always said, in that everything is political. Every choice you make is political, and things that your business do, whether you believe it or not, or like it or not, are actually political. And of course, I'm talking about the US-China trade war that seems to just escalate as the days go on. On the weekend, there was the G7 summit in France, where that was right on the back of more trade tariffs being announced by President Trump. And I think, let's give a little bit of a background. Of course, we've got this trade war between US and China. We also have Brexit going on. We also have the things going on in Hong Kong. And it's just a general kind of craziness going on economically in the planet. And there's also these high levels of indebtedness between countries. And all of this is affecting you, the little guy. And you're going to turn it off and say, I'm not interested in politics. I'm just an Amazon seller. Well, let's talk about that. So right now, 40% of all clothing sold in America comes from China. 70% of all footwear comes from China. And that is despite the fact that for the last 5 years, companies like Nike, manufacturing companies like Nike, and retailers like Walmart have taken effort to pull China out of their supply chain, but you really can't do that so easily. China is good at what they do, and that is producing quality goods, whether you want to argue that or not, and I hope you don't, because you're an Amazon seller, so I hope your goods are quality. Producing quality goods cheaply. And there aren't a lot of sources, other places you can go for that. So tariffs are going up. A couple of months ago, the tariffs on a lot of things went from 10% to 25%. So a 15% increase. Now I know a lot of you who are selling on Amazon, 15% pretty much wipes out your margin. And this is a very strange thing that's happening here, because consumers, you can try to pass on the increase to consumers, but are consumers going to pay an extra 15%? And more importantly, are your competition also going to pass along that increase or not? Do they have a way of not getting hit so much? You don't know. So to stay marketable, you have to keep your prices where everyone else does. That's a problem. And then if you're one of those lucky, quote-unquote, people who sell actually to Amazon, you don't sell to the end user, but you're selling to Amazon. Amazon has come out and said they're actually only going to give an increase between 3 and 5% on cost. So you're going to have to take a bite of at least 10% on those goods that went up from 10 to 25%. And now we have a whole other range of goods that are going to go up in tariff. And that that list is 122 pages long, and I went through the list myself, and it was pretty much everything you can think of, diapers and baby goods, strings for guitars, so that would affect you if you're a buyer or a seller. Any kind of sports-related equipment, soccer balls, gloves, everything like that going up. Consumer products, things like alarm clocks. It was just, the list was never ending. And I don't think this affects a lot of you, but even on that list, and I'm not kidding you, you can go, I'm going to put a link to that list in the video description. There's a line item that says warships. So if you're making and selling warships, if you're making them in China and selling them to the US, you're going to get an increase. So that's what you're up against here. And you're saying, well, okay, I'll take the bullet, I'll bite the bullet. But I've got my notes here, but I don't need the notes for this. The other thing that I think is very worrying, and you should be worried, especially if you are having a United States-based LLC or whatever company structure you chose, and you're going to be trying to sell on Amazon and importing goods from China. And that is Donald Trump bandying around this IEEPA, which is IEEPA, that stands for something that I can't remember right now, but it's a Trade Protection Act. Came about in 1977, I think, or whenever it came about. Donald Trump is talking about invoking that, and to do that, he will say that trade between the U.S. and China is a threat to national security. This whole thing was developed, this IEEPA was developed to stop people trading with terrorists and drug dealers and things like this. If he does a blanket statement saying that trade with China violates IEEPA, that means you're done. You can't bring in goods from China only by applying for exemption. And that is going to be a big threat to you. So don't think that you're going to be able to get around this if that happens. If that happens, then we're all kind of in trouble. And to retaliate, of course, China is going to release this new, unreliable entity list. And that is a list of companies that can no longer do business in China or will be restricted in China. And you probably won't be affected if you're an Amazon seller because your business, quite frankly, isn't big enough. But if you're going through a sourcing agent, it's possible that sourcing agent is, because China is going to hit back at people who are doing trade from the U.S. into China as well. So the whole thing is a great big mess. And I don't want to just be doom and gloom. There's some possibility that Donald Trump is going to step back. He already stepped back once. There was supposed to be an increase in tariffs on electronics. That he delayed until, bizarrely, December 1st. So right before Christmas, electronic tariffs are going to go up. Who knows? And so, okay, let's not be doom and gloom here, totally. Let's talk about what your options are as an Amazon seller or as anybody who's doing business directly with China and going into the US. Well, you can take a look at the big boys like Nike and Walmart, as I said, and they have all had a policy for quite some time now of looking outside of China for at least as many components as they can. And there's quite some complexities here in the tariffs about where the final product is assembled and so on and so on. But try and look outside of China if you can. As I said, China has the market pretty sewn up in a lot of things, and you can look to some place like Vietnam, India, Mexico. I don't know why people are even talking about that, but you can look at those other places, but you're not going to have the variety of goods, you're not going to have the speed, the quality. The quality is the big one. And it's just not a reliable source chain in there. So, what are you going to do? You're going to have to start thinking seriously about your business. Is this the end for people who sell on Amazon via FBA importing from China? I don't think so. And I don't think it's actually going to get to the real doom and gloom stage where IEEPA will be enacted and people will have to stop dealing with China, because that is just going to kill the American economy. The other thing that's also very interesting here, of course, is that the world is not America. Amazon, if you're an Amazon seller and if you've been listening to me over the last few years when I've been talking about this, there's a lot of Amazon marketplaces out there. You have all of Europe, of course. You have Canada, you have Australia and India, Amazon India. So if you're selling on Amazon, you can sell on those marketplaces too. You can just kind of say, okay, America may be very difficult and becoming more and more expensive. You've got all these other marketplaces that are great opportunities. Japan, selling on Amazon Japan, man, people just aren't doing it. So it's a huge opportunity for you. So if you really want to build up a big business, you can change your sourcing and look at America, or you can keep your sourcing and look at other marketplaces. Anyway, that's my little thing about this US-China trade war. I'm going to try and do some more vlogs. What do we call them these days? I don't know. Videos. talking about business, not just Amazon business, but business in general, because I've been doing it for a long time. As you can see, I'm old. Anyway, thanks for watching. Click the subscribe button, the little bell notification, all that other good stuff that you know how to do, and you'll get notified when my new videos are coming out. See you soon.